Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. So basically, Chris Haynes did a interview. Basically, he did an interview with Chris Haynes on Posted Up, aka LeBrownie stick writer as well, and a Steph Curry apologist. It was a great interview. It's on Yahoo News, Yahoo Report. Check it out. Dr. J talks about some great things. It's some things I disagreed with him in the interview, but overall, it was a great interview as always. It's the doctor. Dr. J is one of the greatest players to ever play, well in the top 50. I have him in, I think, my top 25, 30-ish. Great player, was one of the best at dunking. A lot of people pick David Thompson and Connie Hawkins over him at times when it comes to dunks because those guys don't really get a lot of attention. David Thompson, of course, the Skywalker himself, he basically got strung out by drugs, which led to his ultimate demise of playing basketball. That's who Michael Jordan modeled his game after, it was David Thompson. That's who he grew up and watching the ABA, David Thompson, Dr. J, watching some NBA with Jerry West and those guys. So Mike grew up watching them. In the interview, Chris Haynes was basically asking him about, who he looked up to, who mainly was the guy he was watching. And it was Elgin Baylor. Elgin Baylor is considered top 5 of all time. Like, if you're doing the first team of NBA, you would say Elgin Baylor would be probably in the top 5, if not the greatest to ever touch the basketball. Not only could he score and defend, he could rebound, and he was very strong. And he's the one who led the Minneapolis Lakers to the finals multiple times. He was really the first Laker. You would really have him as the greatest Laker of all time. Out of him, Kobe, Jerry West, Will, Magic, Kareem is in that list. Shaq's not in that list because Shaq, to me, if he would have never been there and it was just Kobe would have won. I believe that. Kobe showed he could win without him. So in this story that Dr. J was talking about, everybody is just focusing on the dumbness, which is the LeBrownie statement he made, which is LeBrownie's, I couldn't put him on my first 2 teams or even the 3rd team because he would bring his own team there, which I thought was a nice little shot, but it's the truth. And it goes to show that Casino for Life is right, and Ticket TV and others when they say a lot of old heads do not respect LeBrownie's, what he did, how he changed the narrative and how he was able to form the teams that he wanted to stack the deck. They don't respect that. And that's why guys like Kobe Bryant is more beloved for the old school players like Dr. J, Michael Jordan, Dominique Wilkins, Magic. All of them guys love Kobe more than LeBrownie's. And they would always pick Kobe over him because they know what Kobe is. Kobe's a dog. And not only that, Kobe showed respect and he always kept in contact with those guys. He never made those guys feel like what they were talking about didn't matter. LeBrownie's is a bit of an a-hole, and a lot of old heads have said this, that he's an a-hole. Larry Bird really don't like him. Don't nobody like him. Magic just has the, Magic like the attention and all that. He really don't like him. And Isaiah Thomas don't like him, but he just deals with him because he has business deals with him And he likes to stick it to Michael Jordan. That's the only reason why he puts LeBrownies up there. Nobody likes him. And everybody does not like how he has done this league and how he has changed it, helped change the rules, and change how the game is. Now, Dr. J gave an important thing. When he talked about Elgin Baylor, he gave Elgin Baylor his flowers. Something that a lot of these journalists or people do not give props to. They don't ever really talk about, the old heads or those who used to play in the game. You know, and it just goes to show you that a lot of these guys, the media is the one who wants to dictate who is great and who isn't, who is their guy and who's not their guy. There's been a lot of people who have chosen other players over players, and they still try to create the narrative that, well, no, this player is better, by trying to bait them into saying something that really they don't want to say, because, you know, people know what the narrative is. They want to make Michael be the best, and they basically want LeBrownies to be the best while skipping over a whole decade in the 2000s of ball players who were better than him. And it's just a simple fact. LeBrownies wasn't even better than Mitch Richmond. I mean, it's just the truth. You guys live in this world because he runs people over to get to the lane. He plays in an era where it's soft now. You know, you can't be physical or knock somebody around like you used to, because LeBrownies wouldn't have made it in that type of era. He wouldn't have made it. If he was to get knocked over or hand checked or whatever, he wouldn't make it. This guy wouldn't. I don't think he would have scored 10 points. I'm serious. Like, I really don't think he would have. So it's like Dr. J said, the game has gotten soft. The game is softer. Yeah, guys are skilled. Yeah, they're skilled. But are they really skilled because they shoot a 3-point ball? To me, they're not skilled. To me, they're just out there. They're just YMCA rejects out there trying to play the game. And they look terrible doing it. Now, Dr. J's first team he said he would pick is Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, and Elgin Baylor. These are his top 5 guys, basically, of all time. Second team, he put Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Karl Malone, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I don't know if he didn't like Isaiah Thomas or they had problems, but I would put Karl Malone on the third team, maybe fourth team. I would never put him as a second team. I'm sorry. He wasn't better than Isaiah Thomas. But this is Dr. J's list, so if he has him up there, I respect his opinion wholeheartedly. And then that's when he went into saying that, well, LeBron wouldn't be on any team because he would try to bring his own team with him. Then Chris Haynes tried to rebuttal by saying, well, there were always super teams back in the day and all. Well, and he was like, well, no, not really, because they were drafted. Those big 3 players were drafted. Kareem got traded for 4 players from Milwaukee to LA, but like he said, is what I've been saying all this time, that management traded that and made that happen. They wanted Kareem to go there. Kareem really had no choice where he went. They were going to trade him. And the Lakers got up and said, oh, we're finna trade for him. They got Magic the next year. And that's when the championship team was rolling. Wilkes was already there. Wilkes, and if you don't remember Wilkes, please go look him up. He was that guy, especially on defense. He was a great defender. Not a good one. He was a great one. So he was just saying the differences, and he just said LeBrownies wouldn't be on his top 2 first teams, them 2 teams, because, and he basically said that he has started this super team era, and he has empowered a lot of these players to do what they're doing. Now, he didn't have a problem with it. He's like, you know what? I mean, it's a democracy now. He says that he says slavery doesn't exist unless it's all in your mind. I disagree with him on that. Slavery does exist. They just moved it to the workplace where they have the same ideology as slavery, which is to keep you down. It's economic slavery. It's not slavery literally as far as whips, chains, and you're in the cotton field. No, that got moved to prison, which with the chains and all of that, while the other part of slavery, which is mind control and to mentally destroy you, they moved that to economics and to the system that we're in. Systematic, to me, slavery. We're in systematic slavery, which we are. We're bound to this dollar and we're bound to the BS that they present to us. Now, I disagreed with him on that. But other than that, it was a great interview. Did he take a shot? Yeah, but everything, I mean, it wasn't a shot. It was true. LeBrownies is the reason of the super team era. I mean, people who be on tickets, StreamYards, I mean, I don't know what to tell them, but it's the truth. You guys are delusional if you didn't think he started it. The Boston Celtics didn't start nothing. The Boston Celtics was a team that traded for KG and Ray Allen. They traded for them. Paul Pierce didn't coerce that or go to Danny Ainge. Paul Pierce wanted to be traded because he felt Danny Ainge wasn't trying to give him the right team. And Danny Ainge brought in two guys to help them win that championship, which was great because Boston hadn't won a championship at that point, I believe, since the 80s. And I don't think they've been in the playoffs since the early 90s. So that point, they made that trade to bring guys. Those three guys individually tried to win a championship on their own. It couldn't work. So, boom. LeBrownies went to a team with two of the top 10 or top 5 players in the league at that time. Chris Bosh arguably probably was the best power forward / center in the league at that time. Dwayne Wade was the second best 2 guard in the league at that time, behind Kobe Bryant. And you being LeBron, people touted you, or not touted, but dubbed you the greatest player at that point at small forward, which to me he wasn't. He was just a point guard. But people were saying you were the best player in the league at that point. I don't know why you weren't better than Kobe, but they were saying at that point you were the best player. So if you're a top 5 player and going with another top 5 player, then going with a top 10 player or top 5, dog, that's a super team. If you look at the Golden State Warriors when KD went there, they were a great team. But as far as individuals, Steph is probably a top 5 player, and Clay was a top 15 player, maybe 20 at that time. He wasn't a superstar or a star player. And he wasn't leading his own team. He was a complimentary player. So you basically started this super team and jumping player to player, putting guys together. To me, I didn't care whether he stacked it or not. He still was not a great basketball player to me. He never got a consistent jump shot. His mid-range is terrible. If he's not on a small point guard or running somebody over, he's not effective. He's basically Shaquille O'Neal in this era. There's really nobody that's big as him that could really slow him down. So he could get away with doing what he wants to do. So, of course, his stats are going to be over fluctuated because of when he gets his stats and how he gets his stats. He mainly gets his stuff in garbage time when he's winning, or even if he's losing, he's trying to get his points. You see him come back in the game, they're down by 30. You like, they down by 30. Why is LeBron in the game? Getting them numbers. Even if they're up by 30, he's still in the game. Like, why is he in the game? Man, he's trying to get them numbers. He not trying to do it the organic way. And I'm glad Dr. J called him out on it. I'm glad Dr. J told the truth. because Chris Haynes tried to rebuttal that crap because he's a LeBron James guzzler. So I don't want to hear that. But shout out to Dr. J, man, and also he talked about sweeping the Lakers in '83. He still brings that up, and he also made a point about huge hands. He talked about I think Rick Barry and Bill Russell were on a pot on were basically commentating a game, and he did one of the moves, and Rick Barry was like, "Yeah, I guess that's the advantage of having huge hands." And Bill Russell says, "Shoot, I got huge hands, but I can't do that." So basically, like he was saying, it's not about just having huge hands. At the end of the day, you have to be able to have the skill and the talent to add to that. But I give huge respects for Dr. J and what he did. Please, guys, go check that out. It's posted up by Chris Haynes. It's on Yahoo. Please check that out. And it's not all about LeBron. You see, that's what they're going to try to do. They're basically going to try to center this around Dr. J and what he said about LeBrownies. And to me, I wouldn't. I mean, it's dumb to me because for one, you got to understand. It's like, look, it is what it is. It's the truth. The truth shall hurt. The truth hurts and it sets you free. LeBrownies has played with more players and more all-stars and more superstars than any other player in history. He has. I mean, it's the facts. And to me, he's not. To me, he's between top 50 or top 80 players. He's between that realm. He's not in the top 50. He's probably top 80, but he's not that great. I don't go by these accolades. I go by how I watch the game. And people won't call me a hater. Well, whatever. But I agree with them. Those are the top 5 to me players of all time in any era. Is Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, and Elgin Baylor. Those are the 5 guys who basically shaped what that era was going to be. And because of their ways and how they played the game, it translated to the next era. Kareem, Magic, Bird, Isaiah, Karl Malone, Julius Erving. And also, Julius Erving gave a great thing. When he gave shout out to Clyde Drexler and Connie Hawkins, I think people forget how great of dunkers those guys were. And Michael Jordan has said this himself to plenty of people, is that me and Clyde Drexler are on the same level. We both are great at what we do. The problem is Clyde Drexler don't play the game, which means Clyde Drexler ain't a bootlicker or an ass kisser. And that's why Clyde Drexler didn't win his rings, which he should have got some rings. But also Clyde Drexler's team couldn't close the deal. They couldn't close against the Pistons. They were up 2-0. Pistons came back and won, I believe, 4-2. And then they couldn't beat the Bulls. They had a chance to beat the Bulls and take the game to game 7. They lost that 4-2. But it is what it is. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share this. Hit the notification bell to select all to receive upcoming notifications. And if you like what you hear, you can donate to the page by Cash Apping me at the word welcome, the number 2, and then HDIITV. Thank you for listening, and we are out. Daisy!